Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm so excited as always for today's recipe. We are making a fall classic and I'm really excited to share it with you. We're gonna be making just a classic Southern pumpkin pie today. It's my mom's recipe that she made all the time growing up. It's literally the best. This is what we have on our Thanksgiving table along with her apple pie every single year, and I would be disappointed if it wasn't there. So I'm gonna share it with you today. It's really, really easy. It's delicious. It's full of just comfort and warmth. It's a little bit sweet, but all of those spicy fall flavors. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is actually blind bake the pie crust. Now, if you go over to the post on the website, I have all the ingredients and all the instructions for how to make my mom's homemade pie crust. If you want to use a store-bought pie crust, you can, totally fine, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that you make your own. It just tastes so much better and it's not that difficult at all. So this is already prepped, ready to go. Head on over to the post to get all the information that you need on how to make this, put it together. It's easy peasy, and it's ready to go. So what does blind baking a pie crust mean? It basically means that we're gonna actually bake this pie crust by itself a little bit before we put the filling in. Because pumpkin pie filling is a custard-based pie filling, meaning it's liquidy, you gotta pour it in, and then it cooks and sets up in the oven as it bakes. We need to actually bake the pie crust a little bit before putting the filling in. That's just gonna help bake the bottom of the pie crust before we put the filling in, and then we'll finish it off in the oven. If you were to put the filling in as is without the pie crust baked at all, then the bottom will actually never get fully cooked, leaving you with a soggy bottom. So all my Great British Baking Show watching friends, you know that a soggy bottom is no good, and that just blind baking just helps prevent it. So by blind baking it before we start helps ensure that that doesn't happen. And it's super easy. So we have our pie crust already ready to go. All you need is either wax paper or parchment paper, and you're gonna lay it straight over top. Make sure it's big enough to cover the entire pie plate. And then you either need pie weights, which you can get off Amazon, or honestly the best thing that I like to do, because that's what my mom has always done, is just buy a bag of pinto beans. They're like $1 at the grocery store, and these are used specifically for blind baking pie crust, so you never have to cook them. These have been baked I don't even know how many times. I just keep them in a mason jar. My mom kept them in a mason jar. Her beans have been baked I don't even know how many times. So you just need something heavy enough to weight down the parchment paper or wax paper, because as the pie crust bakes, it'll bubble up, and the weight of the beans or the pie weights will help keep the weight on top of the pie crust, ensuring that it won't bubble up, if that makes any sense. So pour all the beans in, and then you're gonna lift up the paper and make sure you wanna tuck it all the way to the sides, weighting down the pie crust so that it doesn't bubble and keeps flat and even as it bakes. We're gonna pop this in a 375-degree oven for about 20-25 minutes. It's not gonna get brown yet, but it's gonna bake the bottom of the crust. As that's cooking, we're gonna prepare our filling. Once this is finished, all you're gonna do is lift the parchment paper out of the pie crust and pour your beans or pie weights back into your mason jar, seal it up, store it in the pantry for the next time that you blind bake a pie crust. So pop this in the oven, and then we're gonna get started on our filling. So I've popped the crust in the oven, it's baking away. While that's baking, we're gonna get the filling together. It literally couldn't be easier. It's a one bowl, that's all situation, it's all you need. Into this bowl, I've already added just 1 can of pumpkin, then we're gonna add 3 eggs straight to that, and I'll just go ahead and whisk it to go ahead and break those up. And then we're gonna add honey, 3/4 of a cup of honey. This is gonna give it a little bit of sweetness. This isn't overly sweet, it just has enough of it. It's creamy, it's luscious. It's not super sweet or super rich, but also like it is, because it's just cozy and comforting, because it's a classic that my mom has made year after year. And it has all of those spicy fall flavors that we love, or spicy fall spices, not flavors, but I guess flavors too. So 3/4 of a cup of honey, and then we have 2/3 a cup of cream and 1/2 a cup of milk. We're gonna add, both of those are in here, and we're gonna add it straight to that. And the final thing is all of the spices, and that's gonna give it the flavor that we all love. So all this is just 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of salt and ginger, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and cloves. We're gonna sprinkle that right in, and then whisk, and that is literally it. That's the filling. It couldn't be more easy or simple. This is also easy to double if you wanna make two pumpkin pies at the same time, because the homemade pie crust recipe, which is linked to this recipe, makes 2 pie crusts. So if you're making this for your Thanksgiving table or Friendsgiving or anytime during the fall, just go ahead and make 2. You can pop it in the freezer as well. This freezes beautifully. That's all in the post, but after, all you need to do to freeze it is after it's totally baked, follow the recipe exactly, you're gonna let it cool completely. Absolutely cool, room temperature. Wrap it a couple of times in plastic wrap, or you can vacuum seal it to make it last longer, and then you're gonna pop it in the freezer, and it can last in the freezer like plastic wrap for up to 6 months, or if it's vacuum sealed, it can last up to 2 years. So if you wanna get ahead on your baking for Thanksgiving, just go ahead and make this like a month early, a couple weeks early, have it in the freezer, and then the day before, just pull it out, pop it in the fridge so that it can thaw, and then put it on the counter Thanksgiving morning, and that way it can come to room temperature, and then it's done and easy. So I'm gonna leave this here while the crusts finish up, and then after it's done, we'll pour it in, bake it. That's it. Okay, it is done, and the house smells amazing. So I've taken it out of the oven, and you want to let this completely cool before you cut into the middle of it. So it baked at 375 for an hour, it's cooled, and it's ready to be eaten, and I cannot wait. We're gonna go ahead, cut it. I can already tell this flaky pie crust, which is cooked all the way through, thanks to blind baking it. Taste test that already. Oh. Yum, 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 yum. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Yes, and you can see the pie crust. I mean, you can't see this right now, but the pie crust was flaky on the bottom, which is what you want. You can also serve this with homemade whipped cream, which I have in the fridge, but I'm just gonna dig in right now because I can't be bothered by that right now. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's smooth and it's creamy. It's perfectly pumpkin-y and And that pie crust, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. You're gonna love this. Homemade pumpkin pie, the Southern classic way, is so easy. Anyone can do it. I totally have faith in you, even with the homemade pie crust. So for the full recipe, all the ingredients, instructions, pictures, this video, everything that you need to succeed in making my mom's apple pie, and making my mom's classic Southern pumpkin pie, head on over to feelingaSouthernSoul.com, where you'll find this plus many, many more fall and Thanksgiving type recipes I know that you will love. So enjoy this, gather around the table, serve it up with a dollop of homemade whipped cream. Enjoy it. Everyone is gonna love it. Until next time, I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.